Life often feels overwhelming, because we imagine that solutions to our problems must be complicated, hidden in some secret knowledge or advanced technique. Yet the wisdom of history reminds us that the most powerful answers are often the simplest ones. Walking, something so ordinary, so natural, so human, has been a tool for reflection, problem-solving, and healing for thousands of years. Marcus Aurelius, burdened with the responsibility of ruling Rome, turned to walking as a way to quiet his mind. Kierkegaard walked for hours through Copenhagen, using each step to shape his philosophy. Nietzsche claimed that only the thoughts born while walking were truly valuable. Even Aristotle's entire school was known as the Peripatetic School, because its students learned through walking dialogues. Modern science now confirms what these thinkers intuitively understood. When we walk, our brain enters a rhythm that reduces unnecessary noise and frees us to focus on deeper ideas. The body's motion regulates stress hormones, improves circulation, and restores balance to a restless mind. It is no coincidence that some of the greatest works of philosophy, literature, and science emerged from long walks taken in solitude. Walking is not simply exercise, it is a practice, a discipline, a form of meditation in motion. The truth is, most of life's problems will not vanish instantly. But walking ensures that no problem grows heavier. Step by step, it transforms anxiety into clarity, confusion into order, and inertia into progress. In a world that moves faster every single day, our minds are often clouded with noise, endless notifications, responsibilities, and unspoken pressures. Walking becomes a simple act of resistance against this chaos. It slows life down to a pace that humans were truly designed for. Philosophers throughout history understood this. Nietzsche believed that all truly great thoughts are conceived while walking. To him, movement was not just physical, it was mental liberation. The simple rhythm of footsteps created the rhythm of thought, a flow where ideas could form without distraction. Kierkegaard echoed the same belief, confessing that he walked himself into his best ideas and walked away from his deepest sorrows. Science now reinforces what these thinkers observed. Walking improves blood flow to the brain, activates regions linked to creativity, and lowers stress hormones. In this state, the mind becomes clearer, sharper, and more open to new insights. It is no accident that innovators, poets, and scientists across time chose walking as a daily ritual. Clarity is not found in forcing solutions. It emerges when the mind is allowed space to breathe. Walking provides this space. The steady rhythm of steps calms the nervous system, turning restless energy into structured thought. Problems that once felt heavy begin to dissolve, not because they disappear, but because we finally see them with perspective. Walking is more than motion, it is a living philosophy. A reminder that clarity is not hidden in complexity, but waiting patiently in simplicity. Step by step. Breath by breath. Thought by thought. Creativity often feels like a sudden spark, but in reality, it is a slow-burning fire that needs space and movement to grow. Walking provides exactly that. It removes us from the clutter of rooms, desks, and screens, opening the mind to new landscapes both outside and within. Aristotle's students, the Peripatetics, embodied this truth. Their very method of learning was dialogue in motion. By walking while debating, they allowed thought to flow naturally, unrestricted by the stillness of sitting. Centuries later, Wordsworth, the great poet of nature, composed much of his poetry on long walks through the English countryside. For him, walking was not a break from creativity, it was the birthplace of it. Modern research now confirms what these figures intuitively practiced. Studies reveal that walking can increase creative output by more than 60%. The act of movement stimulates the brain's associative processes, enabling connections between ideas that remain hidden when we are stationary. A simple walk in nature or even along a quiet street can unlock insights that hours at a desk cannot provide. Creativity thrives not in pressure, but in freedom. Walking creates this freedom. Each step relaxes the body, opens the senses, and invites the mind to wander. It is in this wandering, not in forced effort, that imagination blossoms. To walk is to create. To move through space is to move through thought. And in this movement, the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary. Meditation is often imagined as sitting still, eyes closed, breath controlled. Yet walking reveals another form of meditation, one that is active, embodied, and ancient. It is meditation in motion. In Buddhist tradition, walking meditation is a core practice. Monks walk slowly, with deliberate attention to each step, each breath, each sensation of the ground beneath their feet. For them, walking is not about reaching a destination, but about arriving fully in the present moment. Every movement becomes sacred when performed with awareness. This practice is not limited to monasteries. Anyone can experience walking as meditation. The key is mindfulness, noticing the rhythm of the body, the sound of footsteps, the air filling the lungs, the sights and sounds around. In this state, worries lose their grip. Thoughts arise and pass, like clouds drifting across the sky. Modern psychology echoes these benefits. Mindful walking has been shown to reduce stress, regulate emotions, and improve overall mental well-being. Unlike passive sitting meditation, walking integrates the body, making it easier for restless minds to engage in stillness. The act of moving rhythmically grounds us, stabilizing attention in the present. To walk meditatively is to reclaim life from distraction. It is to rediscover silence, not as the absence of sound, but as a presence within movement. Step after step, breath after breath, we learn to inhabit the moment fully. In this way, walking becomes a spiritual practice, a reminder that enlightenment is not found in escaping the world, but in walking through it, mindfully and awake. Modern life has distanced us from the natural world. Surrounded by concrete walls, screens, and artificial light, many of us forget the quiet power of simply being outdoors. Walking restores this connection. It takes us back into the living rhythm of nature, the rustling of leaves, the scent of rain, the warmth of sunlight, the cool breath of wind. The Romantics, like Wordsworth and Thoreau, built their philosophy and art on this truth. They believed nature was not just scenery but a teacher, a healer, and a mirror of the human spirit. For them, walking through fields and forests was an act of communion with life itself. Every path, every tree, every bird became a verse of wisdom. Science too supports this perspective. Studies show that walking in natural environments lowers blood pressure, reduces anxiety, and restores focus more effectively than urban walking. Nature stimulates a sense of awe, a recognition that we are part of something greater, something infinite. This feeling humbles the ego and expands the soul. Walking in nature also sharpens observation. When we slow down to notice details, the pattern of clouds, the texture of bark, the sound of water, we cultivate presence. These small details anchor us, reminding us of the beauty often overlooked in haste. Ultimately, walking reconnects us to the earth beneath our feet. It reminds us that we are not separate from nature but deeply rooted in it. Each step becomes a prayer of gratitude, each breath a reminder of belonging. In a world that glorifies constant connection, solitude often feels uncomfortable, even frightening. Yet it is in solitude that we discover who we truly are. Walking alone provides this sacred space, not isolation, but intimacy with the self. Great thinkers have always sought solitude through walking. Kierkegaard wandered Copenhagen streets to wrestle with his inner questions. Nietzsche roamed the mountains of Switzerland, using solitude as a crucible for his radical ideas. For them, solitude was not emptiness, it was fullness, a place where the noise of others faded, and the voice of truth emerged. When we walk alone, we face ourselves. Our doubts, fears, and unspoken desires rise to the surface. This confrontation can be uncomfortable, yet it is necessary. For without knowing ourselves, how can we live authentically? Solitude strips away distractions, forcing us to reflect, to question, and to grow. Modern psychology confirms the value of solitude. Time spent alone enhances emotional regulation, strengthens independence, and deepens creativity. Walking provides the perfect balance, solitude without stillness, reflection without stagnation. The steady movement of the body supports the unfolding of thought, making even difficult reflections bearable. Walking in solitude is not about escape from others but about returning to them with greater clarity. It is a practice of self-discovery, where each step is a dialogue with the soul. And in listening deeply to that inner voice, we find not loneliness, but freedom. Human creativity is often misunderstood. We imagine it as sudden lightning, a flash of genius that appears out of nowhere. But in truth, creativity grows slowly, nourished by the right conditions. Walking provides those conditions. It clears the mind, reduces mental clutter, and allows ideas to flow naturally. Aristotle's Lyceum was not a room filled with desks, it was a walking school. His students followed him as he walked and spoke, discovering that movement fueled thought. Centuries later, Nietzsche declared that only thoughts conceived while walking were truly valuable. Even modern writers, musicians, and scientists admit that their breakthroughs often arrived not at their desks but in the quiet rhythm of a walk. The reason is simple yet profound. Walking activates the body without overwhelming it. This mild, repetitive motion engages the brain just enough to silence noise without drowning thought. Psychologists call it cognitive quiet. In this state, the imagination awakens. Ideas connect in unexpected ways. Problems once stuck in mental knots loosen and unravel. Studies show that walking increases divergent thinking, the ability to generate multiple solutions to a problem. It is the essence of innovation. When Steve Jobs wanted serious conversations, he often invited people for walking meetings. He understood that movement liberated thought in ways a boardroom never could. Creativity is not forced. It blossoms when given space and rhythm. Walking offers both. Step by step, it opens doors in the mind, leading us into new landscapes of possibility. In this sense, every walk is not only a journey through the world but also a journey through the imagination. The weight of modern life often manifests in silence. Anxiety, depression, restlessness, these struggles are invisible, yet they press heavily on the spirit. Walking is not a cure for all mental suffering, but it has always been a medicine for the soul. Kierkegaard once wrote that he walked himself into well-being and walked away from illness. His words hold scientific truth. Studies show that walking reduces stress hormones like cortisol, stimulates endorphins, and balances mood. It is nature's therapy, accessible, free, and profoundly effective. Unlike pills or programs, walking demands nothing extraordinary. No equipment, no training, no membership. Only the willingness to step outside and move. Yet in its simplicity lies its power. The act of walking reminds us that we are alive, that our bodies and minds are not separate but intertwined. Each step becomes a gentle rhythm that restores balance to both. Walking also combats one of the greatest enemies of mental health, stagnation. When we sit too long, our thoughts grow heavy, cycling endlessly. Walking breaks this cycle. The movement of the body pulls the mind forward. Problems that seemed overwhelming shrink in scale. Emotions that felt unbearable soften into perspective. The Stoics believed in confronting difficulties not by resisting them, but by moving through them with calm discipline. Walking embodies this philosophy. It does not erase our struggles but teaches us to carry them differently. The world still contains suffering, but our relationship with it changes. In moments of darkness, a walk may not solve everything. But it reminds us of light, in the air, in the sky, in the simple act of moving forward. And sometimes, that reminder is enough to begin healing. Life is not a sprint but a series of steps, slow, steady, often uncertain. Walking embodies this truth better than any metaphor. Every journey begins with a single step, and progress is made not in leaps but in persistence. To walk is to live out the philosophy that greatness is built patiently, through repetition and resilience. The Stoics often compared life to a path. Epictetus reminded his students that while we cannot control the road itself, its stones, turns, or storms, we can control how we walk upon it. This perspective transforms walking into a living philosophy. Each step becomes an act of character, proof that progress is possible even in difficulty. Walking teaches humility. Unlike machines that promise speed, walking insists on human pace. We cannot conquer distances instantly, we must earn them, one step at a time. Yet in this humility lies wisdom. Life is not about rushing toward an end but about noticing the richness of the journey. The bird's song, the shifting light, the rhythm of breath, all become reminders of what it means to be alive. Walking also teaches resilience. A long journey may feel impossible at the start, but step by step the impossible dissolves. Mountains are climbed not by leaps, but by footsteps. This lesson applies not only to physical roads but also to personal struggles. Small acts of persistence, repeated daily, become transformation. Ultimately, walking becomes more than an action, it becomes a worldview. It reminds us that patience is not weakness but strength, that progress is not always visible but always happening. To walk is to embody life itself, uncertain yet steady, vulnerable yet strong, always moving, always becoming. When we look closely, walking is never just walking. It is philosophy in motion, medicine for the mind, creativity in rhythm, meditation in presence, connection in companionship, and resilience in action. From Aristotle pacing the Lyceum, to Kierkegaard wandering Copenhagen, to modern thinkers who solve problems step by step, history has shown us that walking is one of humanity's oldest and deepest practices. Every step carries meaning. Alone, we walk into silence and clarity. With others, we walk into connection and trust. Slowly, we walk into mindfulness, turning ordinary ground into sacred space. Even the simple act of picking up a piece of trash becomes a declaration that life is shaped by what we choose to carry and what we choose to leave behind. In a world obsessed with speed, walking reminds us that true progress is not about rushing forward but about moving with awareness. We do not need to conquer every mountain at once, we need only to take the next step. That step leads to another, and another, until the impossible becomes possible. Philosophy often asks, what is the good life? The answer may not lie in complicated theories but in the simplest of acts. Walking teaches us gratitude for the present, resilience in hardship, humility in pace, and courage to continue. It is not an escape from life but a way to meet it fully, moment by moment, breath by breath, step by step. So when life feels overwhelming, do not remain trapped in stillness. Stand, open the door, and begin. The answers may not come all at once, but with every step, clarity will unfold. Walking is not only a path through the world, it is a path into yourself. And that path, patiently traveled, may be the greatest journey of all.